Jerry, one of the things, you're not here right now, but one of the things that is really a buzz here in Norfolk is the introduction and the announcement about modular railroading. We actually have one here in the room, and we're going to be talking more about that later on. But can you tell our members a little bit about the LCCA Lionel partnership and that project?
Yeah, this is also one of my favorite things, and I have to thank the LCCA from the bottom of my heart for picking us to work with in terms of trying to make a unified standard for modular, because clearly without it, it doesn't have the chance of taking off as a pop cultural issue, which we truly hope it will. And what I mean by that, and why we're so excited, is there are very few ways that we have found, that I think anyone has found, that can bring people into the upper level of the hobby, the folks that are represented sitting in the audience today. And that's something that starts when you're a kid and you grow up into it, and it's just very difficult to get people that don't have a history and background and knowledge of trains on the path towards where you folks are sitting right now. Modular, I feel, is one of them, because not only is it appealing to hobbyists because it's fun to do, but it's something that we can actually offer to people that don't have any background or history in trains right now, fathers who want to do something with kids. This is an activity that they can do without the daunting issue of starting out by buying or building a layout and investing all the money that it takes to do that. I had in my office last week a guy who's a very highly placed man in the ad agency world, and he's an old friend of one of our folks here. And we were talking about modular, and he said, "I have two sons. One is 7, one is 12. We're always looking for things to do. That's something that I would do." So we feel that not only is it a great thing for the folks who are already steeped in the hobby, but it's a door that can be walked through by people that are not yet in the hobby, and bring them in ways that just buying a train set in a box, though I love that too, won't do. So we feel strongly about this. We want to support it. We want to work with the LCCA to even create a virtual modular segment so that people can go online and build a segment from their imagination, and then maybe follow through and buy the actual stuff and build it in real life and meet other people that do it. And I just think it's one of the best things that anyone's come up with in a long time.
Jerry's ready to answer some questions right now, so do we have somebody, Al, that wants to ask the first question?
John Catania from Statesville, North Carolina. My member number is 40329. I've noticed since 2009 that Lionel has downgraded the standard O level of the product line. The way I look at Lionel product, it's standard O versus traditional. I like to buy standard O equipment. I don't mind spending the money on it, but I've noticed since 2009 that a number of things have been eliminated without any mention in the consumer catalog. For one, the elimination of engine-specific sounds in all standard O locomotives, the elimination of the smoking stacks in the genset switches, the elimination of Fat Boy speakers in all standard O steam locomotives, and the elimination of the Mars light in standard O diesels of Western railroads. And I wanted to know why Lionel is pursuing this in this level of the product line.
Wow, that's a question that I'm not sure I can answer on the phone in 5 minutes, but I'm sure that if you talk to Matt and to the guys, they can tell you what our thinking has been behind that. I can say that, I mean, in general, given what's happened in the past 3 years, the market at the level that you're engaged in the hobby has become very difficult and very limited. And so that would explain the sort of reduced number of choices. In terms of defeaturing, that's something that I will let you talk with Matt about, because I'm not conversant with each of those things that you just mentioned. But I'm sure that he and the other guys can talk with you about that.
Yeah, this is Matt Ashba, and I'm in the marketing and product development group at Lionel. Jerry, I'll try to add a little bit to this conversation. There's a lot of things that he mentioned in that one paragraph of concerns that that gentleman has. I think what we see here are overlapping concerns or issues or things. It's not all one reason for the various projects and products that you mentioned. For instance, Mike Reagan may be able to help along these lines, but I will say things like the genset switcher, which we really worked hard, being a vision line product, to give that the most awesome smoke features that we possibly could. It's one thing to set out with your goal at the highest level, and as a company, we do everything in our possibility to actually achieve that goal. There are times when we cannot achieve that consistently, and it was chosen in that particular project that we would simplify that feature to allow us to continue making that product, so when it went out to our customers, they felt very confident about the product they were getting and how the features were operating. Things like the simplification of sound features, for instance, the lack of road name specific mentionings or road numbers. That is a decision that the company has made. I believe Jerry alluded to the fact that we are dealing with we're dealing with smaller quantities of very unique engines from all across the nation with different road names and with different numbers. The situation is changing really with our high end. We want to continue offering a wide variety of a product that we can. The reality is the total number of pieces we're building for each of these specialty pieces is smaller. We are trying to reach a broader audience with a wider variety of options for that. It has demanded us as a company to reflect again on how we're going to move forward and successfully accomplish these products. And in order for us to get this product out to you, they will do everything we can to get them to go out to you working absolutely how they need to be, but also we have to survive as a company by that constant tightrope walk between what we're charging for our pieces, what our customers are going to have to pay for that, and what features we're offering them. We would love to continue offering everything possible under the sun for some of these very high-end locomotives. The reality is we're having to check ourselves a little bit so that as a company we can move forward in a healthy manner.
Actually, I would add to that, Matt and folks there. The choices that we make really come down to this. What is the best package we can put in front of people for a price that they can afford to pay? Now, there are some people that can pay whatever it takes to get all the features that they want. But we can't run our company that way. So unfortunately, we do make choices. Now, Legacy and Vision Line have lots of great features, and so we've had to make some choices about which ones that we put in pieces. But we feel that whichever ones we put in pieces, they're the best things that you can buy at the price that we're offering. So I don't mean that to sound like corporate doublespeak, but this has been a time period about choices. So we've tried to maintain the highest quality that we could for the price that we're charging, and sometimes that meant cutting down on certain things. For example, one of the things mentioned, the individual call-outs for each particular road name. As we build more and more road names to try and accommodate more people's interests, this becomes an extremely large cost for what we perceive to be a benefit that, frankly, we maybe not you, we're willing to sacrifice in order to keep the price in a certain range. So it's one of those things that we've had to deal with as we've had to deal with this current economic situation. So I'm sorry that the product didn't measure up to what you wanted, and hopefully we can be more responsive in our future stuff.
Okay, very good. We've got another question here, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry, I'm Wally Myers from Bloomfield, Indiana, 9798. I really like the conventional classics. They look just like the old post-war stuff except in new condition. The only thing I find detracting is when you blow the whistle or the horn, you wind up with something electronic. Would it be possible to do like TMCC and record an old post-war air chamber whistle and an old post-war diesel bicycle horn and put a chip in these things so they sound like the real thing?
I won't speak for our tech guys because when I do, they get really mad at me. But you know, that sounds like something feasible. I would encourage you to talk to Mike Reagan or anybody else there from our tech area, and that sounds like a good idea. And you know, but again, that's balanced against people that want something else. But clearly, thanks for the input. Good idea. Talk to our guys about it.
We got any other questions? There's a gentleman behind you coming up.
Hi, Burt Tenbrink, number 16342 from Michigan. Mr. President, where will these U.S. production facilities be? What city or state? Number 2, about how many people will you employ? And number 3, will they be a union-made product?
Okay, let me see. I'll take that in order. The new model for making stuff in the States is not the old model for making stuff in the States, at least for Lionel. We're not going to open a new Lionel factory and make everything in that factory. That's not the way our world works right now. Right now, this first generation of made in the USA products is made in Michigan, not far from our office in Chesterfield, and that is made pretty much from the ground up there. That's a really inefficient model, and those boxcars made there are probably about twice as expensive as they ought to be. The guys did a great job. We do intend to keep using them, but the model going forward to do larger numbers of product really has to be making components in the U.S. in the best places that can make those components. So it might be trucks made in Nebraska. It might be, die cast made in Michigan. It might be plastic made in Massachusetts, all shipped to a central place and assembled. For our first round of made in the U.S., we chose to make it all in one place, which was very inefficient because that one place is not necessarily the best place to make everything that goes into that particular product. What will more than likely happen in the future is that our production people will literally continue to scour the U.S. for every manufacturing company that can make the components that make our trains. And those things will be shipped to a central assembly plant where they will be put together. We're presently looking at where that place might be. We're considering companies from the Southwest to Michigan to other places in the States. As far as will those shops be union shops, I can't speak to that because we do not intend to hire those people. We may become involved in owning or partnering in an assembly plant, but we may not because I think, as I said up front, the current model to be able to make in the States is, at least for us, we cannot build a factory in the U.S. That's not going to happen again for Lionel. But we can make product in the States, we can assemble it in the States, we can sell it in the States. And that's the best we can do.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, Jerry, well, thank you very much again, and on behalf of all the members of the LCCA, thanks for watching.